Thank you. Dear esteemed guests and organizers, thank you very much for having me here today. I am Faria Rahman, working as research investigator in icddr. And today I would like to present the abstract Menstrual Regulation Service, a success story to address inequity built over the years in Bangladesh. Since we are going to talk about menstrual regulation, let us see what menstrual regulation is. Menstrual regulation is a process to regulate the menstrual cycle when menstruation is absent for a short duration. This process involves either manual vacuum aspiration or the combination of two drugs. And in Bangladesh, the allowed timeline for menstrual regulation is for the drugs, it's up to 9 weeks of gestation, and for the aspiration, it's up to 12 weeks of the gestation. Since we have started talking about Bangladesh, let us take a history tour here. In 1860, British government illegalized abortion, and it limited women's choice to practice their reproductive and bodily rights and interrupted their presence in family planning. It remained unchanged until we got our independence in 1971. Since then, our leaders were working relentlessly on restoring women's rights by introducing AMR in the national program in 1979. We actually saw the initial success. Now, as we are talking about the rights, it's very important to investigate whether the rights are being exerted by the women of all socioeconomic background, or is it leveraging only the privileged group of women. And that this question drove us to set our objective to analyze if women of all wealth quintiles and different residence background have equal opportunity to take leverage of MR service over the decade. And to find that out, no data source could have been better than the Bangladesh Demographic and Health Service. So we have used pool data from 2007 to 2017 and 18. The study design was cross-sectional, and we have taken data from the sample size 66,735 ever married women of the age 15 to 49 years old. For the data analysis, we have used the variable ever used MR, and the analysis process followed rich to poor ratio and concentration index. Now let's look at the result. From 2007 to 2017, the percentage of women using MR remained relatively unchanged, though we have seen a sudden hike in 2011. However, since then, it has been actually decreasing slowly. If we shift our focus to divisions now, we see that MR has been used mostly in Borishal and Rajshahi in comparison to other divisions throughout the period. But interestingly, although MR uptake was always low in Sylhet, but it increased drastically in 2017. Now let us see which women actually are using MR mostly. It's clear that the rich quintiles women are accessing the MR service more than the poor quintile. But after 2011, though their tendency of using MR decreased, but for the women from the poor quintile, it actually increased. Now, our main objective was to find, is equity being served while delivering MR service for all the women, regardless of their pocket size? And we found that, though we still have to wait to reach the desirable society of equity, but we are actually making progress towards it, as we are making progress towards the equity line. We find that an interesting thing that women from the poor community of the rural areas use MR more than the privileged background. And if we see the divisional performance, we see that though almost all the divisions are taking baby steps towards equity, but Chittagong is approaching equity faster than any other. So much so far of what we have discussed till now was a bit statistically heavy. Let's simplify it. Let's see how we can simplify it. So, in 2007, for every one MR-revealing woman from the poor quintile, there were 4 MR-revealing women from the rich quintile. and it remained unchanged till 2014. But there was a plot shifting in 2017 and 18. And what was that? So here, for every one MR availing woman from the poor quintile, there were only 2 MR availing women from the rich quintile. What does it indicate? It proudly indicates our shift towards equity. I would like to finish my presentation here, but I would like to highlight few of the key findings that I want to discuss. First of all, this study is first of its kind to report and address the overarching effort both government and non-government entities are putting in to reduce the equity gap, not only in MR, but also many other SRHR services. And at the very last comment, but the most important to me, that what we see here is the BDHS uses the data of only ever married women. So it indicates the use of MR actually was availed by those women not only for their heightened societal vulnerabilities, which could have been the case for the women who were unmarried. But for this case, it is actually due to their awareness of family planning and their exertion of bodily autonomy and SRHR rights. Thank you very much for your patience hearing.